I have no idea if I'm really cut out for this shit. If you are starting or growing your business, I would not be surprised if a thought like that has crossed your mind. Hi, I'm Laura, by the way. I am an 8-figure world-renowned award-winning direct response copywriter, and I'm a business mindset coach. And today I'm going to give you the 8 clues that might indicate to you that you are destined to win in business. But first, a harsh truth. Many people do not have these. Many people may hear this list and either be delusional and feel like they actually do have these things, or if they're in the mood to see the truth, they will hear these things and feel like, oh shit, that's not me. If you feel like, oh shit, that's not me, but you really, really want to be successful in your business and you're willing to make some important, significant changes, I'm gonna give you the way to do that in the middle of this video, so stay tuned. The first clue that you may be destined to win in business is that you're hungry. You're not procrastinating all the time, sitting on your couch watching Netflix, thinking, oh yeah, I'll get around to that later, or oh, I could do that later. You're not saying, well, I'm going to get drunk every single night and not work on the things that I say I want to work on. You're so hungry that your actions actually line up with what you say you want. Now, I understand if you're a beginner, sometimes those actions may not pan out and you may have a lot of learning to do. But if you're willing to continue to take actions, even when the first thing you tried doesn't pan out, that's a nice indication that you have the hunger it takes to successfully start your own business. Because truth is, honey, this shit is not easy. There might be parts of it that are easy, especially when you're working in alignment with whatever your natural talents are. There are strategies we can adopt to make it as easy, as lucrative, as fun, as leveraged as you possibly can, but growing and starting and owning your own business is not like having a job where you clock in and somebody else tells you what to do and you do it. That means there's a lot of mental pressure and stress on you to get the things done even when nobody is watching and nobody is telling you to and nobody's even paying you for it, right? You often have to work quite a bit and build quite a bit in your business before you get to that point where you start making a lot of money at it. So if you're not hungry, it might be a clue that you're not destined to be a winner in business. But if you are hungry, it may be a clue that you are. The next clue that you may be destined to win in business is that you have clarity on what you want. Now, that doesn't mean that pivots and changes and adaptations and modifications will never occur, right? Viagra started out as a pill for your heart. So pivots and modifications happen, but the gang behind Viagra knew they wanted it to be this hugely commercial, successful pharmaceutical drug. So they had clarity on what they want. They weren't so unclear that they were like, well, maybe we should make fans now or something like that. You see what I'm saying? So if you have some clarity over your big grand vision, be that you want to start a media company. Maybe you're not yet sure what type of information you're going to publish within your media company, right? And maybe you'll learn this type of information does really well and this type of information does really poorly, so you'll double down on the information that does well. But as long as you have that overarching clarity of, hey, I want to start a media company, this is what I want to do, you're going to be able to take the knocks on the chin. You're going to be able to more properly assess the data that you get as you take certain actions and try out certain things, and you'll be able to keep moving forward. If you don't have clarity at all, here's a symptom that can help you know if you don't have any clarity at all. You see an ad on your Instagram one day telling you how you can make money on TikTok by promoting affiliate products. And you're like, oh, okay, I want to do that. And then you see an ad the next day that's like, you can make $27 courses and sell those. And then you're like, oh yeah, I want to do that. That's a lack of clarity that's going to hurt you in the long run. It's where shiny object syndrome comes from. right? So you need to have the clarity for at least like a year out on what you want to be doing and put your focus there so that you can learn about that and so you can continue taking actions and modifying with the data that comes in. If you're totally adrift, that's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. If you're totally adrift, I want to give you the chance at getting some help with that. I have an awesome free tool that's designed to help you get more clear and take more action at bizwintoday.com. Go check that out, especially if you're feeling pulled in a ton of different directions and you're not sure what to do. The next clue that you may be destined to succeed in business is that you are a master of perspective. The definition of perspective is the vantage from which you view something. And the most successful business people and humans in the world are absolute masters of perspective. What do I mean by that? If something feels hard or overwhelming, or if something feels like a failure, they are the masters at applying a different perspective to it. So they don't look at it as a failure, they look at it as a lesson or a data point. They may not look at something as a problem, they may look at it as a challenge or an opportunity. It sounds simple, but when you're not in control of your brain and your thinking, and you're simply sitting there like, I'm afraid, I don't want to put myself out there, I've failed before, you're not employing the power of perspective at all. Because if you were to apply the power of perspective in that situation, say you've tried 5 different things and you failed all 5 times, I could quite easily say to you, well, that's fucking great. You now know 5 things that did not work for you. What's next? Versus, I can't do shit, like I'm gonna go like drive Uber Eats or whatever. No shade at all to Uber Eats, but if you don't want to do that and you're only doing it out of a lack of perspective and feeling like you cannot do anything else, then that might be a clue that you're not destined to succeed in business. But if you're able to pretty quickly, without getting too mired in your emotional garbage, apply new perspectives, you have such a powerful gift that may be a clue that you're destined to succeed in business. I share a lot about different perspectives on my email list. By the way, I'll give you another fun example of one, okay? Say you procrastinate and you're like, I procrastinate, I don't know why, I don't do shit, and then you just kind of stay rooted in this cycle, right? Of procrastinating and thinking about procrastination and not doing anything. Here's a perspective shift for you. How might a child solve the problem of procrastination? Tell me 3 different ways a child would solve the problem of procrastination. I am shifting your perspective here. I am getting you out of your singular sort of myopic viewpoint, and you're adapting a new brain, a new vantage point, quite literally. In this example, one of a child. 3 ways a child might solve a procrastination problem is, well, they might just get up and run over to it and do it, right? If your kid hasn't brushed his or her teeth, and you're like, brush your teeth, brush your teeth, brush your teeth, and they've been procrastinating on brushing their teeth, but they get so tired of hearing you tell them to brush their teeth, they'll just get up, run, get it over with, and brush their teeth. That's one way. Another way a child might overcome procrastination is by asking for help. Could you help me? Could you put some toothpaste on the toothbrush? Or if a child is procrastinating going down the slide because it's a big slide and they're a little bit afraid, they might say, could you walk me up the steps of the slide? Could you stay at the bottom of the slide? Can you help me go down this slide? A third way a child might solve procrastination is by pulling a friend. How might Winston solve procrastination? This is gonna be the Winston series. The third way a child might solve procrastination is by pulling a friend in with them. So if they've got a little brother or sister that they could pull, okay, come on, we're brushing our teeth together. Or if they've got a friend, they could pull up the steps to the slide and they go down one after the other. They go down in tandem and one cheers the other on, whatever it may be. So they may pull in a friend to do the thing they've been procrastinating on with them. So you now have, by employing a different perspective and the power of perspective, 3 pretty damn good ways to overcome a procrastination problem. That's just one example of how you can use perspective. And if, as you're hearing this, you're thinking, oh yeah, I kind of do this in my own life and I didn't even realize it, it may be a great clue that you're destined to succeed in business. The next clue that you may be destined to succeed in business is that you think probabilistically. The fact of the matter is, life is not black and white. It's like if I were to ask you, do you prefer pizza or chicken wings? That's not a mathematical answer, right? It's a preference-based question, and there may be some days of the week you would prefer pizza, and there may be some days of the week you prefer chicken wings. Or if the pizza comes from X place, you wouldn't even touch it, but if the pizza came from here, you would choose it over chicken wings every single time. You know what I mean? A lot of wannabe and even some very successful business owners get into the trap of not thinking probabilistically. They think something is either a success or a fail. They think that something is going to happen or it is not, and they sometimes forget to account for all of the possibilities in between. So if you tend to apply probabilities to your decision making, if you think of stuff like, well, I have a 50% chance of being late if I leave right now. But if I leave in 10 minutes, I have like a 90% chance of being late. So let me leave right now, right? Because it's still a coin flip on if I'm late or not. Then that's a really great indicator that you have the type of mind that is required to be successful in business. I break down a ton of other strategies to think probabilistically and deploy perspectives in this incredible, super high level free guide that I've created for you. Every entrepreneur and want to be entrepreneur on the planet needs to read this, even if you run a 7 or 8 figure company. You can check that out at mindframe.me. I'm like plugging after every one of this. I'm just leave them all too. Why not? Yeah. The next clue that you may be destined to succeed in business is that you understand leverage. Here's the thing. If you have the previous tools in your toolkit, the previous clues that you may be destined to be successful in business, and you don't yet understand leverage, guess what? That's okay, because you already have the mindset and the habits of, well, if I don't know something yet, I can go learn it. See? If you heard me say you understand leverage and you thought, well, shit, fuck it, I knew it. You need to work on those previous pieces before you can even step up to the plate of leverage. Okay? So what do I mean by leverage? A lever is something small that can get you a big result. If you think of a hinge on a 200-pound huge steel door, it's a very small hinge that gets that door to open. The best in the world at growing companies obsess over leverage. What is that small hinge that opens a huge, heavy door? So they're not thinking, how do I work way harder to open this door? They don't even think, how could I bring in 1,000 people to help me open this door? What is the hinge that we could create to get that big result? That is the top level definition of leverage that you want to start to invite into your life and into your business if you're not already doing so. Another iteration of leverage under that umbrella is debt. Understanding how to use debt for liquidity in order to help you run your business is a much more advanced strategy that tends to come with a lot of its own mindset, perspective, probabilistic stuff. But if you are open to the concept of, oh, one, I have to make investments in myself in order to get a return on those investments and to get an outcome. Oh, I need to make an investment in my business in order to get some sort of outcome. And you understand that smartly used debt or leverage could be a possible way for you to make those investments. Now you're thinking like an entrepreneur. A third way to think about leverage is what can I create within one sphere of my business that helps multiple spheres? So if you look at Elon Musk, for example, he has factories that create parts for his different companies, right? Even though Tesla and SpaceX are two totally separate companies, they can use the economies of scale that they have for all of the materials, all the parts, the steel, the electrical wiring, all the stuff that goes into both Tesla cars and into rocket ships. So by building that economy of scale, he has created leverage for himself. So it would be a wonderful thinking exercise for you, and it would deploy the previous clues that we've talked about if you can think about, how can I model, how can I do something similar to what Elon is doing at a much smaller scale? Or not, or at whatever scale you're at. How can I apply what Elon is doing at whatever scale you're at right now? What is one point that could fuel the different parts of your business? Here's a simple one. Filming YouTube videos, for example. You film long form content one time, and that gets repurposed across all of your channels. So now you're not spending time filming YouTube, filming Instagram, filming TikTok. You're filming one thing that gets carried across the multiple channels of your business. That is leverage. And if you naturally or through practice find yourself consistently thinking about, how can I get more leverage out of this, or where can I create more leverages? It is a wonderful clue that you may be destined to be successful in business. That one got a little bit high level for him, but that's okay, they need that. The next clue that you may be destined to be successful in business is that you want to learn. You maintain that learning adaptive mindset. Whatever the rules or whatever you were taught a year ago, you think to yourself, who knows if that still applies? The world changes each and every single day. Information changes, circumstances change, tastes change, things cycle, and you are always ready, open, and willing to learn about what is going on right now, what's gone on in the past that may repeat again, and what might go on in the future. You are not fixed in the mindset of learning. But the one thing I want to caution you with when it comes to learning is you want to learn bigger. That's leverage again, because if you keep learning small stuff, if you learn how to fix the photocopier, you will be the one who has to fix the photocopier. If you learn how to grow a team of 50 to 100 people, one of those motherfuckers is going to be the one to fix the copier. So you want to learn bigger to get yourself bigger. So don't fool yourself into learning something easy and simple for the sake of your ego. Don't fool yourself into learning video editing or designing in Canva. If you want to grow and ascend and develop a real company, you want to, in that situation, perhaps learn how to hire the correct people for those roles, how to build that team and culture so they are thrilled within those roles, and how you might develop systems and processes so that while they are fulfilling those roles, they're doing them in the most effective and efficient way that also makes them feel happy and accomplished. So you want to apply leverage to the way you think about learning as well. Because as it being a clue that you may be destined to be successful in business, you want to apply thinking about leverage to nearly everything. The next clue that you may be destined to be successful in business is that you want to connect. You do not want to stay isolated in a box, in a basement, on a computer, doing everything that needs to be done for your business forever. Now, where there'll be times where you want to retreat into a cave and do some deep work, will there be times where you want to take a mountain retreat and read 5 books? Of course. But generally, you want to connect with other movers and shakers in your industry. You want to learn from them. You want to be able to see what strategic, again, leverageable type of deals you might do. You want to see what they're trying out now, now? Is it applicable to you? None of this is in the interest of gaining transactional, taking something from them. It's in the interest of cultivating meaningful relationships with like-minded people. So you want to go out to dinner with your business friends. You want to hear what type of books they're reading, what podcasts they're listening to, and you quite simply want to connect. The final for this video, there are more, I could totally do a part 2. The final for this video clue that you may be destined to be successful in business is that you're not afraid of the unknown. Or you have mild fear of the unknown, but you do the damn thing anyway. Every part of growing in your business, from starting it to taking it to the next level, to bringing on your first employee, to crossing that $1 million mark, is going to be unknown for you. It is a first by definition. So if you're categorically afraid of the unknown, so much so that you're not gonna take any action, it's a pretty powerful clue that you're not meant to be successful in business. But if, as I say all of these unknown things to you, you're like, oh yeah, I want to take the actions towards that. I want to start doing that. I want to see what happens along the way. I want to learn. Then it is a great clue that you are destined to be successful in business. A job, on the other hand, right, has way less unknown to it. Even if you're going to a job to be an assistant in an office for the first time, you've got a pretty decent mental model of what an assistant in an office does, right? She shows up to work at the time he shows up to work at the time he's supposed to show up for work. He sits at the desk. He greets people who come in. He manages the appointments for his boss. He brings coffee. All of that is much more known than the vast, unknown, uncharted territory of starting and growing a business. So if you are cool with all of that unknown, if it in fact excites you, then it is a marvelous clue that you may be destined to succeed in business. Speaking of fear of the unknown, that is one of 8 fears that may be holding you back in your business. I highly encourage you check that video out because I get into some of the more sneaky, sinister fears that even 7- and 8-figure business owners have. It's super duper interesting. I'll see you over there.